Welcome everyone to another edition to As Above, So Below Radio. I'm your host, Martin Hodgson, and it gives me great pleasure to have you tuning in today. When you get a chance, please visit the website holisticadvocate.com and sign up for our free newsletter. Also, take a moment to subscribe and become a member. You'll not only gain access to our commercial-free, subscriber-based interviews, but also treat yourself to an assortment of fascinating people worth listening to. Today's guest is Turi. Dr. Turi, as he is more commonly known, is an astropsychologist, a prolific author, as well as a captivating speaker. Moving to the United States in 1984, he has since established himself as a successful astrologer and is recognized for making well-documented and undeniable accurate predictions using his profound universal wisdom of the cosmos. Join me in welcoming Dr. Turi as he discusses astropsychology. First of all, Louis, I want to welcome you to being on As Above, So Below Radio. For any of our listeners out there, can you give a brief background about yourself and what got you started into studying astropsychology?
Well, let me bring you back a few years ago, I think around 1986. That's where I was in the UK. I was at the Royal School of Music, at the Wakins Audrey School of Music, which is connected, of course, to the Royal School of Music in London. And I had a dream, and that was to become a recording artist. So I spent close to 10 years in the UK, and I end up with the Distinction Cup and being able to play piano. However, one day I met a guy in a discotheque. It was from San Diego, and he actually told me if I would ever go to the United States, he would help me. So I took his words very, very seriously. The next thing you know, I land in San Diego, California. A few months later, all I had was his business cards. And I tried to reach him before flying into the US, but I couldn't get his number. I couldn't get through. So, cut the story short, I arrived in San Diego with a suitcase, my master tapes, big dreams to get involved into music in the United States. I was signed up with the Philips record company in Paris. I had my first record release. I mean, during those days we didn't have CDs, and I spent many hours walking. I had only $50 left in my pocket. I was freaking out. Didn't know who to talk to. One track mind, and that was to locate the place. Because I had no money, I was asking people, the location, and then, United States next door is like 10 miles away.
Right.
So I walked pretty much, the rest of the day, and I finally made it to the place. When I arrived there, I saw two very old guys, and I told them, I was very excited to talk to Mike that I met in Lisbon, in Sussex, in England, and he was going to help me and this and that. And the two guys look at me, they were retirees, and they say, you know what, sir, well, we don't have a son. But I say, is that the right address? He said, yes, we've been here for the last 20, 30 years. And there is no Mike here. I said, oh my gosh, could you please call this number for me? Yeah, of course, no problem, because they knew I was, petrified. And they called the number. Of course, the number went nowhere. So this is pretty much how I started in the United States. $50 in my pocket, no friends, no place to stay, no car, no green card. I was an illegal alien, and I was freaking out. So one thing to another led me to find a job, because I knew one thing that is legacy from my grandmother, to always move in relationship to the new moon. And I followed that advice, so I touched the American soil in the good moon. And obviously, the reward was that anything that I touched since then turned gold. So knowledge is power, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
Then from there, I worked in different places. I even worked on Pearl Harbor and San Diego U.S. base. And in 1991, when the job situation was really, really bad. So I came back from Hawaii to San Diego, and just a week later, I went through my fourth UFO experiences, and that's where I had what you call the downloading of the cosmic codes of addictions. That was number 4, which is tremendous type of UFO experiences.
Mm-hmm.
But to summarize everything, I came here with a dream, and I end up doing something else because my plan was very different than what God had for me. And that's what basically, in a few words, Dr. Turi is all about.
Okay. Can you just give a definition of what is exactly astropsychology? I mean, there's some people who associate astrology with the stars, but from your point of view, from your perspective, it's much more deeper.
Well, yes, first of all, you have to remember that I am not a psychic nor a modern astrologer, which means I don't get lost into details.
Mm-hmm.
That's for astronomers that have lost the spirits, the values of the spirit of the stars, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Astropsychology is Nostradamus' 16th century divine astrology on steroids, because I had to develop a software that allowed me to think, to draw a chart, and using symbolism and using the sign of the zodiac instead of looking at the entire, looking at a tree and missing the forest. So in other words, even though the details are very important, especially in your case being a Virgo, but I'm a Pisces. I'm the opposite side of the spectrum of the zodiac, so I operate more on the objectivity, intuition, the supraconscious in time and space, and you still need a structure. So astropsychology, as I said, is divine astrology, Nostradamus' 16th century divine astrology. And it has pretty much the same dynamics of what you would be learning in traditional astrology, apart from that it involves the natal and the hidden dragon, and there is no references to other aspects, confusion or heavy mathematics. The software put everything in perspective that allowed any of my students to make a good use once they graduate, to start to make money if they have an active website.
Okay. Now, you also own 2 websites. One is called drturi.com and the other cosmiccode.drturi.com. And you've also written several books, most notably, as far as the ones I'm familiar with, you've written the Moon Power series that comes out every year, and another one which is called The Power of the Dragon.
Yeah, I also wrote I Know All About You and God Created the Stars, Asia Predictions. In fact, I'm a writing machine. And I made those books available from my website for $15 because the information is so valuable. And I want to make sure that everybody get a piece of the divine and realize the solidity involving my work and the value of my predictive work, so to speak. So the daily guidance and prediction, either universal or personal, are in these books. One of them that I just developed to is called the Nostradamus Personal Dragon Broadcast. A very, very unique little book, also available for $15 from my website. And that is pointing out where the dragon is, in what specific house is going to affect you. But let me tell you, for example, if you have, let's say, the tail of the dragon, which is negative in your 7th house of marriages, chances are you will be forced to restructure your partnerships area, end up in a divorce or having problems with some of your partners. If you have here the dragon in the 2nd house, and you can land on the lottery and make a lot of money. If you have it in the 3rd house, you're going to be forced by the dragon to to reevaluate your critical thinking. If you have it in the ninth house, you will be forced to reevaluate all that you have accepted as reality in terms of philosophy, religion, how you're learning. So this dragon can be in any of the 12 houses that represent the essence or the soul of the 12 apostles, the 12 hours of the day, the 12 months of the year, the 12 apostles, the 12 sins, the 12 jury, the 12 tribe of Israel, the year 2012. So there's quite a lot of complexity behind all this, and I make it extraordinarily simple and very affordable for anybody who is in quest for the spirit or want to raise his own cosmic consciousness.
Interesting. Now, you also focus on the methodology as practiced, as you mentioned, by Nostradamus, right? And the term you've coined here is the UCI, the Unique Celestial Identity. Would it be maybe safe to assume that this is similar to one's own fingerprint?
You got it, but it's on the spiritual plane.
Mm-hmm.
See, problem that our scientists have today, which have distanced themselves drastically to the spirit itself, mostly because they have a problem to enter the intuitional domain of my work, and they cannot penetrate the archetypal realm of consciousness because their UCI is underdeveloped. The problem is if they think that everything started and finished within the conception of the human mind or the brain. But humans are much more than blood, flesh, and bones. There is a spirit, and they have absolutely no clue, no idea, or any references on the spirit apart from, of course, deceptive, archaic, religious, dogmatic teaching that offers no good, that more chaos all over the world in reference to religious wars. So what they're trying to do to understand, for example, Einstein and why he was a genius, they will use their telescope and dig down to see what part of the brain made him a genius. What they do not know, of course, there is no difference between their brain, my brain, your brain, or the one of Einstein, or a killer for that matter. It's the same weight, same density, the same function, the same wiring. What's different? The UCI, or the unique celestial identity, which is the result, the karmic result of all the past life you had. For example, let me give you a little sample that will help you to simulate.
Sure.
I'm sure you heard of Mozart and Beethoven. At the age of 10 years old, those kids were musical geniuses. There's no way that in 10 years you can master piano playing and composing such a beautiful music. It's the result of many past lives involving their work in music that led them to have a gift. Man is not born equal. I mean, you try to pick up a fight with Mike Tyson, you're going to have a problem. He's bigger, he's stronger than you. You try to pick up a race with somebody who has longer leg than you, physically, you're going to have a problem. Well, within the conception of the human mind, it's the same. You got people that are gifted, that can create music. Now you have people that are logical and rational. They are born scientists. To the extreme, it produces agnostics, skeptics, atheists, so to speak. But we need these people to build gearbox and to build solid bridges, because they're supposed to deal with the physical manifestation of the human experiences. But when the other side of the coin, again, remember, up and down, black and white, the front, the back, God, devil, the yin and yang, the physics and the spirit. On the other side of the coin, you do have people that have been gifted with a DNA, a spiritual DNA, which is very different. In fact, if you have a brother, sister, your mom and dad, they are your biggest strangers. You may be, I mean, obviously directly related to them DNA-wise on the physical plane, but on the spiritual world, you will never think, behave, create, or feel like your mother, your sister, your dad, or anybody else for that matter. You are a unique human being, and you have a unique celestial identity, and that is a result of all your past lives.
Interesting.
Make sense, Martin?
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so Louis, I'm sure our listeners would like to know about the cosmos and what the cosmos has in store for all of us. Now, with your permission, I'd like to focus on some personalities here. First comes to mind here is the newly elected Pope, Pope Francis. Can you maybe give some insights into his chart?
Again, when I write a newsletter, I am much more precise because I have all the time to channel the information. And when I do a show, I have to be really, really fast and give you only the basics.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
Pope Francis was born on December 17, 1936.
Okay.
So anything to do with the codification of thought, anything to do with the books, anything to do with philosophy, spirituality, the sole purpose of the Pope is to do that. In fact, Nostradamus was also born in December, and he also wrote books, very different than the church. But you can see the energy. The man, the bow and the arrow represent the soul's purpose to travel physically and spiritually, and to learn, and in the process to teach. So this sign, Sagittarius, is ruled by a planet called Jupiter. And Jupiter means an incredible potential to reach the world. That's why Nostradamus is famous all over the world. That's why the Pope is famous all over the world. So if you're born in December, you have a great opportunity to become a philosopher, a teacher. In fact, a lot of people who were born in December are very what you call writers. They don't have a mind of their own unless they have an advanced UCI or different area of the chart like Nostradamus, or Edgar Cayce or Madame Blavatsky, who share a dragon's head in Pisces, which is highly spiritual. So these people tend to be only reflecting and repeating what the book said. That's why after each sentence that they read from the Bible, they say amen. They don't have any their own critical thinking. They are entrapped into the codification of thought. They are endless, permanent, forever students of the codification of thought, and they will not challenge it because the book said. Now, the opposite of Sagittarius is Gemini, which is curious, versatile, a master in communication, the messengers of the god, where I have my own hidden dragon's head, and the moon in Gemini that makes me who I am. What's interesting with this Pope, he was born with also the head of the dragon in Sagittarius. And Sagittarius rules Latino people, Guatemala, Spain, and Portugal, where the conquistador came, where the Pope has so much strength and power in the old days when he was promoting the word of the good Lord to third world people. But at the same time, of course, the Cetera Bull that he signed was to destroy all the Indians that could not be converted into Christianity. So when you look at it, the Pope was concerned and more interested in the gold, in the artifact, and the real estate than the welfare of the Indians. That's a given. We know that. Now, the problem with that I detect with this Pope is that he has a stellium in Capricorn. Jupiter, which is the codification of thought, is in Capricorn. His Mercury is in Capricorn. His Moon is in Capricorn. And then you're talking about the head of the devil, the head of evil in Christian theology, the goat. He has a stellium in the sign, which means he's very, very smart. And he remember somebody telling him, oh, you have to think of the poor and you have to be very humble. He's very, very smart because ultimately from the get-go, what he had in mind is to become the Pope, and he succeeded because Capricorn is the most manipulative, the most logical, rational sign of the zodiac. And that is one of the main reasons that it appears to be humble, but all along it was motivated to get at the top. And because the future is nothing else than the reincarnation of the thought, subconsciously he used the supraconscious forces at his advantage. And you know, when the cosmic code line up the stars, here he was being elected Pope Francis not long ago. Now the problem that I also see with this Pope is that he has the tail of the dragon in Gemini on the 7th house. So he has a lot. That's a given. That's a dual sign. This is the sign that creates duality. This is the position in my work that creates the born gays and lesbians. So having the tail of the dragon in Gemini, Gemini rules communication. On the medical aspect of my work, he rules the lungs, and you know this Pope has only one lung. You know that.
Mm-hmm.
It means also that he was raised with brothers and sisters, and there is something that happened to him when he was a child with his brothers and sisters that should never have happened, and conflicted with the rest of his puritanical side, so to speak. A doctor will become a doctor because he's afraid of disease. A pope will become a pope because he's afraid of going to hell and doing the wrong thing. It's all motivated by subconscious fears. And on top of that, he was also born with Saturn, the planet of structure, into the sign of Pisces. Mm-hmm. And Pisces rules religion, confinement, church, synagogue, asylum, alcohol, deception, illusion, poisoning. The Pisces sign rules the Middle East, where you have the poisoning coming from the oil, which is posing the physical aspect of the human experience in the ozone. And then you have to remember the Middle East is the producer of all the major, youngest, deadliest religions. All religions were born in the Middle East. So it's a Pisces energy. And having Saturn in Pisces, this structuring Capricornus power led him into the world of Pisces and becomes the icon of the biggest deceptive teaching. He owns the position of the most deceptive man on this planet, who is in the mind of those who don't have cosmic consciousness, a representative of God, when he does not understand God, when he does not communicate with God, when he does not know that God speaks through the sign, and God created the stars and the heavens to be used as signs so that you may lead a safer and more productive life. So there is quite a lot of things that are wrought about this Pope, and the best thing that I can suggest your audience to do is to go to Google Pope Francis and add my name behind it. Or if you are interested in knowing about gays, just write the word gay and write Dr. Turi behind every single sentences. I've been writing since 1991. I have thousands upon thousands of articles about anything under the stars. So if you want to know more about this Pope, you might have to dig into some of the material that I wrote, or even if you have the patience, drturi.com, and click on my post right at the top.
It's interesting when you think about this concept. On the day that he was elected, for example, Europeans, they put the date first, followed by the month and the year, whereas in this country, we put the month first, followed by the specific date. So on the day that he was elected, it was 13/3/13, and the hour, Vatican time, was at 7:06 p.m., and he's 76 years old. So somehow the number 13 is popping up all around him. Do you think this is purposely planned? Or, we do know that the papacy uses a well-coordinated ritual in any of their decisions.
Well, again, we're coming back to, I don't know if you read a newsletter called The Dead Sea Scrolls Secret. Mm-hmm. If you did not, again, Google Dead Sea Scrolls Secret and my name, Dr. Turi, behind it, and you're going to see incredible stolen wisdom that the papacy had, and they're supposed to use it. They used to do in the old days, because I have pictures, if you read this newsletter, of the Pope being taught astrology by the Vatican Council. Right. All that on the Dead Sea Scrolls Secrets newsletter. But what I'm trying to tell you, I doubt very much the Vatican Council has cosmic consciousness, because they have elected a president that is a dual. They have elected a president who has the tail of the dragon in the 7th house, and that means this Pope will give bad publicity to the papacy, to the Vatican. They already have removed the old Pope. They removed him because he was born with the tail of the dragon in Capricorn, which means presence, notoriety. He brings bad names to the Vatican because of his tail of the dragon in Capricorn. Pretty much like Prince, the two young prince and princess of the UK. Philip, I can't remember his name.
Prince William and Prince Harry.
Katie's wife, his girlfriend, his wife. She's pregnant right now.
Right.
She has a baby. She's expecting a baby very soon. Those two kids were born like the old Pope with the tail of the dragon in Capricorn, and Capricorn was England. Capricorn was the hierarchy. Capricorn was anything that is the position of respect, and that's what. Get those kids everywhere they go. They have been photographed naked. They are drunk or God knows what. And I don't think that makes the Queen very happy in the UK. But they don't have cosmic consciousness. Would it be the royalties or the Vatican Council? I think they have lost. It's impossible if they had true cosmic consciousness to elect a president with such a chart. It's like electing. It's like the German people electing Hitler. Hitler was born with the tail of the dragon in Capricorn. And that makes me also worry because currently with North Korea, Young King, this new North Korea kid, 21 years old, has also the tail of the dragon in Capricorn. And this is a disaster when you elect a president who has a negative stars. The people that he rules are going to be imposed by his fate. That's common sense. I think they have lost that. So this Pope is full of different faces, a lot of lies, a lot of things that will be coming to the light. It's already coming to the light, and that's not going to give a real good reputation to the Vatican. And the start of the degradation of the Vatican is already started. It's the age of Pisces. When you have a pope that is excused and he said, "I'm retiring," already you have an omen of what the rest of the story is going to be about the papacy and about the Vatican, knowing that the age of Pisces, who has been ruling this world last 2,000 years, is on his way out and being replaced by the age of Aquarius that regulates electronics, technology, the internet, and people like you and I passing on information that before only the church had monopoly over. You understand me?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Now, you touched upon the leader of North Korea, Kim Jong Un. He's made a very bold announcement that he wants to nuke the United States. Now, assuming you're looking at his chart, can you make or maybe formulate make an assessment as to his psychology using the stars? I mean, are we looking at a crazed lunatic, or should we take his threats as serious?
First of all, he was born with the same scorpionic moon than Saddam Hussein. And was very well known to kill his own family member to stay in power. The moon represents the domestic scenery, the infrastructure of a country, and how a president will react or will bring to the people that is ruling. And then we know through history what happened to Iraq. Okay, now this president, the North Korea young president kid, has the same moon than Saddam Hussein. Worse, he has the same dragon's tail than Hitler. And hidden dragon's tail is Aries. And Aries is ruled and controlled by the planet Mars, which regulates war. The only problem with Asiatic people, they are not like us or European or even Russia for that matter. They're very unpredictable. And you can see with what happened with the surprise attack Pearl Harbor with Japan. So, but why are we attracting this? Because I predicted it well before. And one of the reasons, of course, why I was fired from coast to coast is because I also predict a high possibility of President Obama being assassinated. What happened is President Obama was born with the tail of the dragon in the sign of Aquarius. Aquarius regulates anything to do with brotherhood, humanitarianism, excuse my French. It regulates the honorable justice, peace, and love for all, so to speak. So President Obama shares the same dragon's tail as Princess Diana. And see what happened to Princess Diana. She was killed. I mean, you have to be totally innocent not to realize that Princess Diana was killed by the CIA, the British CIA in France. Okay. Of course, people don't want to hear the truth. They cannot handle the truth. So the same thing could easily happen to President Obama. And I trumpet it. If you write President Obama assassination in Dr. Turi, you can read about 2 FBI agents knocking at my door where I was trying to tell them that I did all that on purpose so I can help them to protect the president. But of course, they saw me as another Mrs. Cleo lunatic out there, not realizing, of course, that I know much more than what they can bargain for. So what I'm trying to tell you, President Obama was born with the tail of the dragon in Aquarius, and all Americans, and because America is supposed to be the regulator of all the country by the order of God, mostly because America was born with the head of the dragon in Leo, and during the day, every planet shies away around the sun, only the sun shines. That's why America has always been the top country in the world, meant to control, to organize, and to have jurisdictions so that everything move, balanced. Now, since Obama is in charge of the United States last 4 years, he has destroyed his country. The principle of the United States, including the all the old documents that was written by the forefather, the Constitution, are being legally trashed. So there is, his dragon's tail in Aquarius is attracting nukes, is attracting shocking news, shocking experience. And you can see even in the cosmos, we never seen so many meteorites, so many cosmic news taking place every 2 or 3 days. Comet, there is all this energy. Don't make sense to people that don't have an advanced spiritual UCI. They just don't, they cannot connect to the intuitional domain, as I say, that I have. Luckily for me, a lot of my cosmic coders understand me and they read me, and I have a worldwide reading audience. In fact, cosmic code is free. Now, if you learn it, if you want to become cosmic conscious, if you want to learn the tarot, astropsychology, you have to sign up to some paying groups. But the site itself, the cosmic code, is free.
Okay, I want to touch back on the issue with North Korea. Should we take North Korea as a more serious threat than the perceived threat with Iran?
Both the same. Let me tell you one thing, a little bit more dangerous on the North Korea, because as I said earlier, they are unpredictable people. That Aquarius people, they are Uranian people.
Right.
Okay. Now let me bring you back in history here. Maybe a little bit more. The Russian and North Korean has always been very good friends. And in the Cold War, they obviously helped them to develop nukes, because if there was something in the United States, their ally would be able, being closer, to help them to negate the United States. Now they realize they did a mistake. This guy is crazy. Okay, you see, the only way to escape my prediction is if, like the president of Venezuela, died, supposed to be of cancer, but he was actually poisoned. You can write his name again in Dr. Turi, and you can read everything of what happened to Hugo Chavez. He was killed by CIA. Okay, that's the only thing that can. One of the things that can stop the nightmare of the vision that I saw is that the people of North Korea, or the CIA of North Korea, kill him. Second scenario is that China which is also Asiatic people,
Mm-hmm.
decide to nuke them.
Hmm.
But he will not do nothing until he knows he has 100% support from Russia.
Right.
And so there is a lot of elements that are in place right now.
Mm-hmm.
That is all brought to us because we have elected not me, because I'm French, I cannot elect anybody, but the American people have elected a president to have a very negative dragon state in Aquarius, and he is not riding the head, he's riding the tail. He is the president of the poor people, pretty much like Princess Diana was the princess of the people. And you know how she died. She literally and then this is why it is a 150% guarantee that President Obama will not end his life normally. He will end his life in a very shocking, dramatic way. It could be an airplane, Air Force One accident. It could be a poisoning. It could be the CIA. It could be shot. But one of these will come true. And that's a style prediction. And that's why I lost my position in Coast to Coast by being too honest, because people, especially the Homeland Security of the United States, they do not understand. I'm trying to protect President Obama because he is a human being like you, like me. He has a family, he has children. So if I can help somewhere somehow, and even putting myself in peculiar position with the FBI, God, understand me. And instead of, assuming, they give me a chance to show it to you before it's too late. But
Okay, well, let me ask you this. Based upon what you just said with President Obama, is it possible that his fate could be in the hands of a crazed lunatic? And I say this because you made a prediction that came to pass, and I'm referring to the U.S. permitting spy agencies to scour Americans' finances. Do you think this is a growing trend we can expect in the years to come with these, laws coming in effect? What comes to mind here is the issue of spying on Americans. Yahoo News had written an article on the 5th of March that in effect gives President Obama the legal authority to unleash deadly force, in this case with the use of drones or drone strikes against Americans on U.S. soil without first putting them on trial. Now, in your opinion, are you seeing, based upon the chart of the United States, a stripping away of our sovereignty?
it's already taking place. Let me bring you back to the latest news. Not long ago, President Obama, you couldn't go to the White House anymore. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
What happened is, incidentally, I wrote before they made that decision in the White House, and trust me, the FBI and the CIA, even President Obama probably read my newsletter nowadays. I'm not joking. I'm really, really closely watched. Everything I said, even this show, is heard by the FBI as I'm talking to you right now.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be afraid, because they can do that, like I said, to everybody. But when they read my vision of Hugo Chavez being assassinated by the CIA or being poisoned right from his own White House, all of a sudden, a few days later after this newsletter, the White House shut down. And then, of course, that's going against all sorts of things. People are gullible, so they thought it was about saving money. But no, it was a direct order by the FBI to actually shut it down, to make sure President Obama does not become a target. Now, this tail of the dragon that is constantly dwelling in involves technology, the World Wide Web, the internet, not just nukes. And when I wrote, be ready, you're not going to have any form of privacy. The internet will be under the jurisdiction of the FBI, even your credit card, everything that I said is actually taking place. I mean, ahead of time. So, you need to have the time to digest all this information. There is a lot of movements that are taking place, and that's due to a very cosmic, powerful energy that I call the Scorpius Draconis. It's the tail and the head of the dragon right now are on the axis Scorpio Taurus. as of August the 12th until February 2014, the Scorpius dragon is working overtime, is mostly against the children. This is why you had 20 kids that were killed here. A few days later, 22 in China, and you can see accident with 10 to 18 kids being killed. This dragon is also producing an upsurge of suicide, upsurge of war involving sex, and today on CNN now you have the strippers battling the institution because they don't get paid. So it's a constant process. This dragon doesn't want anything to be hidden for long, and that's why, of course, the old Pope servant actually was able to steal the financial masquerade of the Vatican.
Mm-hmm.
Some of it, you understand that. So this Scorpio is incredibly powerful. He wants to give a wake-up call to the world. And of course, wherever you have this Scorpio on your own UCI, on your own chart, you will be forced, hypothetically speaking, to die in that specific house. It's affecting my home, so I'm planning to move, to Florida. And it's affecting my career. This is why I have a lot of people that are having a good time trying to diminish my integrity, making up lies, stinging me to death on the Ripoff website.
Mm-hmm.
None of these people are, my client or student or anything else. They're just people that just hate my guts. They're Christians. They're afraid of the UFOs. I don't know. It's all based by fears. So the Scorpius dragon is also very, very wild. And you can see, as it is now also affecting Capricorn, Capricorn who's the politician, how the politician literally tear themselves apart. The lack of respect, the ugliness of this very destructive Scorpius dragon is running the world until 2014. And again, if you go to drturi.com and you scroll down, you will see a set of 23 predictions that I made a couple of years ago. And each time one is taking place, I go there and update it. So pretty much every one of them so far came to pass.
Interesting. Now, you mentioned several times the death of Hugo Chavez. Now, he had, in a video, mentioned that he knew that he was a possible target, but he cited the Israeli Mossad. But you're, telling us, in this case, the listeners, that you believe it was the CIA.
I don't believe. I read the stars. I mean,
okay.
He was born in August. So was President Obama. Mm-hmm. So is the current French president. So was Clinton. So was Madonna. Still alive. So was Michael Jackson. You have to understand, when you're born in August and you get in position of power, it's not because you're smarter than anybody else. It's because God's order through the cosmic code wants you to own a stage. So if you don't know much about the basics of astrology or astropsychology, again, go to Dr. Turi, and on the top of my sign, you click on the month you were born, and you're going to have an idea of your soul's purpose. Now, all that I have noticed, okay, even that very famous black singer that died in the bathroom.
Whitney Houston?
Excuse me, when it comes to channeling, I forget names.
Right.
I'm trying to keep my feet on the ground at the same time as I gather information.
Right.
Whitney Houston was also a Leo. And how do they end up? They end up totally intoxicated, legally or illegally, to make the situation easy for you to understand. Legal drug or illegal drugs, they all die poison. It's just the law. So when I look at President Hugo stars and I made the assessment, I'm not assuming. I have a lot of background behind me that 99.09% of the people, including science, cannot refer to. So they have the right to be skeptical and think I'm a lunatic, when actually I am 50 years ahead of all of them. And I'm trying to bring their own spirit to to the same speed as mine, and that takes time, and it takes also curiosity, and it takes an advance. You see, there are people that would never ever in million years budge from the Bible, other people that would never budge 1 year from the accepted discipline because they have PhDs and they think they know better. It's just a game of life, and I come to be extraordinarily gifted, at the same time cursed by God, being able to see things and exposing it does sometimes not good to me, but I don't lie. That's the way it is.
Okay. I'd like to switch now on famous celebrities here. What can you say about the ones which come to mind? Something general, so to speak?
Well, again, each celebrity, as I'm speaking to you, is undergoing the same problem that you have.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people happens to be at the wrong place at the wrong time. This is due to what I call the lucky, unlucky window date. Mm-hmm. It's a new discovery that I have in astrology. It's like your reason tells you when you're very high, you will be at the right time at the right place, or when you're very low, you will be at the wrong time at the wrong place and lose your life. Mm-hmm. Time there is a very dramatic news, I refer to the date of birth of the person, and I've done this for many, many years, and I realize that there is a very serious timing when the light is green and when the light is red. Mm-hmm. And uncover that, and I offer this for $100, which is literally given away. This is priceless type of service, but people don't know about it because I'm just promoting it, so to speak. So any celebrity or non-celebrity, every human being, because the stars don't care if you have reached a higher level of accomplishment or if you're Joe Six-Pack in the street, they don't care. Okay, it's pretty much like God creating an earthquake and killing an innocent baby and a tsunami. The force won't rationalize with you. If you happen to have, you are in a certain situation and the dragon is affecting your subconscious, for example, would it be losing a cat, having an argument with somebody, losing a family member, you are going to go through such a deep psychological changes that this person will become the focus of all your problems. This is what I'm experiencing right now with one of my clients who could not perceive the work that I did for her, and she's launching that vile attack against me, and I'm trying to reach her, but there are people you cannot reach because they are not ready. You can take the horse to the water, it doesn't mean he's going to be able to drink. Do I make sense again?
Yeah, I'm not surprised. It's difficult for the majority of people to accept the quote-unquote science of astrology, but all one has to refer to is J.P. Morgan once said, millionaires don't use astrology, billionaires do. Okay.
Imagine if I was standing in 1911 in front of the Titanic screaming at Captain, what was his name? I can't remember his name.
Oh, I forget his name too. Yeah, I don't remember myself.
Screaming to him and to all the people about to board the Titanic. I said, "Are you crazy? What are you doing? Don't go. The moon is waning. Mercury is retrograde. The moon is going to go in Pisces. This boat's not going to make it to New York." Imagine that. They would have thrown me in jail. Guess what? Not long ago, you heard of that Italian ship?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not only this ship, but every single ship went down because the same exact cosmic configuration that took place with the Titanic. And of course, J.P. Morgan, who was into the stars, and it was actually owning pretty much the Titanic, didn't go.
Right.
It didn't. It stayed aground. He knew better, somewhere, somehow. Mm-hmm. So this is what I'm trying to do today, trying to tell people, hey, the Bible says, I talk to you, you won't see me. I present myself to you, you won't see me. I talk, I mean, you have to raise your cosmic consciousness in order to understand God's celestial messages, because he can only speak to you through the signs. So this Scorpius dragon, which is now afflicting the world, is forcing the world through the new age of Aquarius to recognize the cosmic new face of God. So I'm doing something extraordinarily important as I am at the forefront of a new understanding, not only of God's face, but his cosmic tools.
Interesting. Okay. Well, we are approaching the end of the first hour, Louis. Would you care to remind our listeners of your website and where they can find your books?
Well, again, my website is my name, drturi.com. You Google me, you're going to have a few million hits. I'm all over the world. And anything you want to know about, only two ways to go about it. Google your question and add my name behind it, or simply join the Cosmic Code. It's free. You're going to have a lot of Cosmic Code newsletters. So if you want to understand a little bit more of the Cosmic Code secret, all you got to do is to join. Again, it's free. And then once you're there, if you like what I do, then you can improve and maybe join other groups. You got to pay a little bit, because my pearls of wisdom are not free, but they are certainly worth your life, and that's something I know, and you got to find out.
Awesome. Okay, well, I'll see you for the second hour. And for our listeners, if you wish to listen to the second hour, please visit holisticadvocate.com and subscribe. It's easy, and you'll gain access to fascinating interviews from fascinating people, and all commercial free. Thank you, Louis, and I hope to talk to you again soon.
You bet, man. Thank you for having me, my friend.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Take care. That's it for the first hour on As Above, So Below Radio. Tune in for the second hour by subscribing to holisticadvocate.com, where Dr. Turi will share his insights on UFOs, his official contact and disclosure just around the corner, the moon, and what effects this celestial body has on each of us, the effects of Pluto in Capricorn, and what generational effects this planet will have on our society. And is America possibly headed for a complete economic meltdown? And if so, would this usher in civil unrest and much more? You're listening to As Above, So Below Radio.